A forest of immensely tall and unusually straight oak trees planted nearly 200 years ago to build naval ships that ever came to be. There is good reason that oak has traditionally been used in shipbuilding. The wood is incredibly strong, and if tended just right, the grain is straight and true. Going back to the Vikings, the slow growth trees have been used in Sweden for vessels of all kinds, including naval ships. On the lake island of Visingsö, there are hundreds of acres of tall and orderly oaks, all planted with an eye to the long game. It was around 1830, soon after the end of the devastating Napoleonic Wars, and the Swedish crown sent out a delegation to search for ideal spots the plant for future ship production. 3 of those emissaries came to a small craft on Visingsö, a narrow island in the middle of Vättern, Sweden's second largest lake. Here they spied 3 magnificent oaks just outside of an old woman's farmhouse. They took one with them back to Stockholm, and it didn't take much to convince the Royal Navy that Visingsö had nearly perfect conditions for lumber production. Over the next 10 years, 300,000 oak trees were planted. Knowing how slowly the trees grow, the Navy was thinking awfully far ahead to supply itself with material to keep afloat well into the 20th century. But by the time the trees were ready, almost 150 years later, they showed no interest in using them, having long converted to cheap hulls crafted from iron and steel. Back in the 19th century, to make the oak suitable for cheap production, other species such as ash, elm, maple, beech, and silver-fir were planted between the rows to force growth up rather than spreading out. Today the forest, nearly 900 acres, 360 hectares, are immensely tall and unusually straight trees, and even if they never see the ocean from the bottom of a boat the way the white hasn't been for now, the lumber is ideal for flooring, veneers, furniture, and even whiskey barrels. Now, before you go, Visingsö only accessible by boat from the town of Gränna on the eastern shore of Lake Vättern in southern Sweden. You can bring the car, but the oak forest and many other sites are close to the harbor. It is also possible to rent bicycles to get around.